Many locals believe their government could do more for tourism. St. Vincent is a gem, yet neighboring islands like Barbados and Grenada often outshine it. Most people are like, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what's that?
What I would like to see improve is our healthcare, tourism, and agriculture. And tourism now, we, Barbados, St. Lucia, they're getting cruise ship all the time. Why can't we? We have Black Sand Beach, we have the volcano, we have the rivers, the 32 islands, Beckway all the way down. We have a lot to offer. So why are we limited with tourism?
St. Vincent and the Grenadines is obviously a hidden gem. But the question is, should the government be doing more for tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And I think that is like an obvious answer. There can always be more that the government can do to improve tourism in any island at all, whether you're number one in tourism or you're last place in tourism. You can always do something to improve. But for me, I think that St. Vincent is where it needs to be right now. St. Vincent is like a blank canvas that's ready to be painted. Very beautiful island, lots of potential. But to understand where St. Vincent is right now, you would have to understand the history, because St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's been like, I would say like a rough 10 years. First of all, there was no international airport. And in the past 5 to 6 years, we have seen the relocation of the airport, and to now having an international airport where you can have daily flights from Toronto, flights from Montreal, flights from New York, from Miami. Flights are coming from all over to the beautiful island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines now. So that is a major improvement from years ago, because with the old airport, you would have flights like the Liat, the smaller airlines. But now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there are international flights coming in to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that is a major improvement. And there's a bit of a setback because of, there are a few things that happened in the past years. There was a pandemic, the recent hurricane, the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. So there are quite a few setbacks. Those 3 setbacks were major setbacks. So, as I said, St. Vincent is where it's supposed to be right now, because we saw in the past couple of years, we saw the opening of the sandals in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that opened, was it late last year they opened? And we just saw Holiday Inn, the grand opening of Holiday Inn. We saw the T20 World Cup. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines is like poised. And as I said earlier this year, while visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it is my belief, and it's still my belief, that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the next hotspot in the Caribbean. So can the government do more? Yes, the government could always do more for tourism. But my belief is that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines need to take their time and to develop a tourism product that will work best for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And let me explain why I say that. Being the top tourism destination in the Caribbean is not necessarily a great thing for any island. And let me explain why. Because I've been in hospitality for a while. I started in 1993 in hospitality. And I study hospitality. I eat, sleep, drink hospitality. So why would I say being number one or being in the top is not necessarily the best thing for the island itself, in particular for the people of the island? When you take a look at the top islands, the top Caribbean in terms of tourism for the past 10 years or so, you have Bahamas. Bahamas is one of the top destinations for cruise ship. Jamaica. Jamaica is one of the top destination for all-inclusive. You'll have St. Lucia. St. Lucia, top destination for honeymoon and weddings. You have Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is just one of the top destinations overall with the highest amount of, I think, over 20 million or so visit to Dominican Republic on a yearly basis. What do those islands have in common? I don't really know much about St. Lucia because I haven't really studied St. Lucia like that. But what I can tell you about Jamaica, Bahamas, Dominican Republic is that those islands, they're hot spot for tourism. They're very great for tourism. But in terms of the end result for the people of those beautiful islands, it is not so good. Because when you talk about, let's talk about Bahamas first. When you talk about Bahamas, when you go to Bahamas, you'll hear the complaint every day. Bahamas is a cruise ship destination, and when the cruise ships come to Bahamas, you go in the downtown area and everything is overtaken by tourists because a lot of cruise ships come to Bahamas. And Bahamas also have private islands for certain cruise ships, like I think Royal Caribbean own their own island in Bahamas. And the end result in Bahamas, from what I've seen, is like high rent and the value of properties like skyrocketing in Bahamas. So people who are working in these industry, the hotel industry and other industry, the type of money that they're making, they can't even afford to live in their own country because of tourism and because Bahamas became this destination for like the rich and famous. It pretty much put people, locals, in a position where they can't even afford to live in their own country. Everything is expensive. Rent is expensive. Buying property is expensive. Food is expensive. And the industry itself is like a low-paying industry in Bahamas, pretty much all over the Caribbean. Let's take a look at Jamaica now. Jamaica is all-inclusive. And again, like about roughly 70% of people who work in hospitality in Jamaica are pretty much living, they're not making like living wages, really. It's like what you call hand-to-mouth. About 30% of people who work in hospitality can live a good life, like buy a car, purchase a house, do stuff like that, just to have like a regular life. But a 70% is not able to do that. And to add to that, like a lot of people in all-inclusive in Jamaica, you're not allowed to take tips, and it's just like a mess. So, and then, but Dominican Republic, no, Dominican Republic is the same. It's like a cheap destination, low-paying jobs for hotel workers. So yes, it is a good place to visit as a tourist. You get value for your money as a tourist. But when you talk to people that work in those industries in Jamaica, in Bahamas, in Dominican Republic, a lot of people are not loving those industries because they're not making livable wages, and their life is not drastically changed, even though they have a job in those hotels. So with all of that saying, if I was supposed to give the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines some idea about moving forward with tourism in St. Vincent, what I would say is that do not rush. And when you're billing out the tourism product, in the forefront of your mind should be the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You don't want St. Vincent to become like a hiding place for the rich and famous, and then in turn disenfranchise locals, making properties too expensive for them to live, making just everyday life too expensive. And one advice that I would give is to look at some of the islands, the models that are doing well for their people. And I would recommend two places. I would recommend Bermuda and Barbados. Bermuda and Barbados, to me, are two of the islands that have done it the right way. And what I love with both islands is that they have a good balance of all-inclusive and bed and breakfast hotel, because you don't want to be that island with 70-80% all-inclusive hotel. Because what I like about bed and breakfast is that our business hotels, a lot of those hotels, staff, they're able to get tip. And even if you're making, the wages that you're making is like minimum wage or not livable wages, a lot of servers, waiters depend on tips. When I just started out and I was a server, for example, if I made like $200 per week, or well, that's ambitious. If I'm making $100 per week, my tip would be at least $100 or $150. So my tip most times would double, or even on a good like time when it's like the tourism season and we have a lot of tourists, my tips would double or triple what I make as an hourly wage. So that would be my advice. Like, look at those two islands. Try to model what Bermuda and Barbados. You know, you need a place in St. Vincent like Oistins in Barbados. You need in Bermuda have this thing called Harbor Night. Back in the days, we used to go to Harbor Night. And Harbor Night is when the cruise ship would come in and the people, locals, would be able to sell their craft, and a nice craft area is set up with hundreds of locals. And it opens up the local market for like taxi drivers offering taxi ride for tourists. Instead of like when you have these big all-inclusive hotel, they have like these shuttles, and locals are not making the money from that. So that would be my advice. Try to model the tourism industry in a way that a good amount of people from St. Vincent and the Grenadines can work within the industry, and they can have like contract jobs that are not necessarily in the industry, but they're connected. As I said, like taxi drivers, tour operators. People are going to need to go to Darkview Falls, like a lot of tour guides, taxi operators. Those jobs could open up new opportunities for Vinci people. So that would be my advice. So guys, if you feel like you can add anything else to the conversation, if you are giving the leaders, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines ideas of how to move St. Vincent forward as a beautiful, unspoiled gem in the Caribbean, what would be your advice for the government? Sound off in the comment section and let me know. And guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.